Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. We have been talking about GM's targets for many years now, and how I think they are not possible, as it is easy to just tenfold your target on paper in 2 years' time, but to actually do that in reality with the supply chain and raw materials is a different matter. But now it is not just me and many others in the EV community that is saying it. Now a global vehicle forecaster and widely consulted industry research analytics firm is saying they don't think GM will get even close to their target of 1 million EVs in North America in 2025. And this is happening at the same time that Monroe and Associates has just torn down the Hummer EV, exposing the inefficiency and complexity of the GM Ultimum battery pack. It's a nightmare. GM's facade is quickly falling apart. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So GM has said it will have the capacity to build 1 million electric vehicle in North America by 2025.
We're going to be #1 mid-decade in EVs in the US.
And have doubled down on that, as GM spokesperson Jim Chain said, "We have not changed our target. These targets include cumulative EV production of 400,000 from early 2022 through mid-2024, a revised goal that CEO Mary Barra reiterated earlier this year." And even though we have been talking about how this seems almost impossible for GM with the ramp they have shown us up until now, some analysts still believe them, like Webbush auto analyst Dan Ives said, "We believe GM's targets are hittable despite hurdles to get there." But now other industry research analytics firms are doubting GM's targets. A slow ramp of its 3 US battery plants could limit actual EV production to less than 600,000 at mid-decade, according to the forecast and analysis prepared for Reuters. Building more than 500,000 EVs in North America in 2025 will be difficult based on GM's planned battery production at plants in Ohio, Tennessee and Michigan, according to Sam Fiorani, head of Global Vehicle Forecast at Pennsylvania-based Auto Forecast Solutions, AFS, a widely consulted industry research analytics firm. But before we go into their details, let's just do a quick back-of-the-napkin math here, because GM says they still expect to do 400,000 from early 2022 through mid-2024. So let's just give them Q2 of 2022 as well, because then, so far, they have produced and delivered just short of 60,000 units in 4 quarters. And remember, GM only sold 20,700 EVs in Q1 of this year, but 95% of these EVs was the Bolt, the car they will discontinue by the end of this year. So in Q1 they sold less than 1,000 units of the Lyriq and their Hummer EV combined. Yes, GM will add 3 EVs to the lineup this year, even though they have not been able to get the Lyriq and Hummer ramped up to any meaningful volume yet, but that does not matter. They just need to show some more models. And the Silverado pickup EV and the Blazer EV and the X-Not EV will all come out this year, but they have to ramp up very fast next year to fill the shoes of the Bolt. Even though the Bolt does not sell in very high volume, it is still 20 times higher than the Hummer EV and the Lyriq combined, that has been in production for more than a year, but they are only able to produce 2 in Q1 and a little over 900 Lyriqs after about a year of production as well. So GM still has to show us they can even build any EV in high volume. The Bolt has been in production since 2017 and still only produced and delivered less than 20,000 a quarter. So GM has no track record whatsoever giving me any confidence in their ability to pull this one off, because now they only have 5 quarters to produce and deliver 340,000 EVs to get to 400,000 cumulative by mid-2024. So on average we should see 68,000 units per quarter going forward, so more than 60% more in a quarter than what they did in all of last year, or about 250% more than what they did in last quarter. So we need to start to see some really high growth numbers from GM to do this. But AFS does not think they're going to have the battery cells for it. GM's Ultimum Cell joint venture with LG Energy Solution has opened its first plant in Ohio, with a second plant in Tennessee slated to begin production in early 2024 and one in Michigan to open early in 2025. Virtually all of GM's newest EVs in North America are designed to use the Ultimum battery pack delivered jointly with LG Energy Solution and produced at one of these 3 US plants. Those 3 factories will have a combined annual capacity of at least 135 gigawatt hours according to GM, enough to supply at least 1.35 million EVs a year when fully ramped up, of course. But with the staggered startup scheduled and slow ramp, AFS forecasts the 3 battery plant will be able to produce just 58 gigawatt hours worth of cells, enough to supply about 550,000 vehicles by 2025. As Fiorani said, limitation of the battery capacity make higher vehicle production target difficult to reach, adding that GM's projected EV volumes could also be constricted by the company's ability to secure sufficient raw materials for the batteries. GM says it has all the deals ready to get all the raw materials they need for the 1 million target. But I have my doubt, as we have to remember just 3 years ago in 2020 GM only expected to produce about 160,000 EVs in 2025, and now less than 3 years later they have raw materials ready for 10 times the amount. Sounds unlikely. Remember, JB Straubel said, I don't think they have really done the math on this one. And we have to look at their track record, because we always hear about Tesla over-promising and under-delivering. But that has only been with full self-driving timelines, not really much else, not production anyway. Production numbers, you can go back all the way to 2014 as Tesla nailed their prediction of 500,000 in 2020, even though everybody said it was absurd. But unfortunately, we cannot say the same about GM and other OEMs. They have been nothing but talk so far. GM even said back in 2017 they would be the first to profits from electric vehicles. That has probably turned out to be the biggest joke of them all, maybe just after that GM is leading the EV race. And when I show you the GM battery package from the Hummer EV in a minute, you will know what I'm talking about. But according to GM, they were already leading back in 2017, as Mark Ross, GM's executive vice president for product development, said. The company leads the pack in reducing the cost of electric vehicles and ultimately offering an affordable version. And here we are, 6 years later, and GM still not earning anything on their EVs. And we all know that GM said they would have 18 new EV models by 2022. Well, that clearly did not happen either. But that's not only GM, just to be fair. Ford said back in 2017 that they would have 16 BEVs by 2022. And they had 3. So this is not missing your target with a little bit. GM and Ford has been completely wrong on their targets compared to what actually happened. So that is why I am very skeptical about GM's new target of 1 million in North America alone by 2025, as they have not so far in the last 7 years come true with any of their many targets for EVs. They have constantly changed and told us and their investors about how anyone can have any faith left in them is beyond my understanding. But now it seems that even industry expert and analytics firms are starting to doubt GM's many claims. And we all know how GM has been telling the world how they are leading the way, also with their Ultimum battery pack. But now Monroe and Associates has officially torn it down, and it is probably one of the worst engineered battery packs out there. It weighed almost 1,300 kilos, about 2,800 pounds, and there was 3,500 welds, twice as many as usual, and thousands of complex fasteners and components. It's kind of ridiculous. I will leave a link to the video down below so you can see it for yourself. And as they also showed, it is the biggest battery in a vehicle they have ever tested, but has the least miles per kilowatt hour. So even the F-150 Lightning gets about twice the amount of mileage per kilowatt hour than the Hummer EV does. This is probably the most inefficient EV on the planet. And as they could show us, the battery itself is nothing special. They are just very big pouch cells, but the energy density is nothing special.
So, I mean, that's what GM's big claim was. The Ultium cell was a new and great thing. All it really is a bigger gas tank. It just holds more. It's bigger. It's not really novel in any way.
As they said in the video, it is just like putting a bigger gas tank on your car. That does not make your car more efficient. As we can see, both Ford and Rivian get more mileage per kilowatt hour. This is such an inefficient vehicle and complex EV that I think this car is probably one, if not the most expensive volume EV to build on the planet right now. This car does not make any sense. And the batteries are nothing special, but are using outdated pouch cells technology that GM said was far superior battery technology, but have now changed their tune and will make cylindrical cells instead, as they are far superior to GM's pouch cells. So GM is building 3 factories, 2 of which will be ready in 2024 and 2025 to build their already outdated pouch cells batteries. I hope they can make a switch to the cylindrical cell before the factories is complete, but these factories are in partnership with LG Energy Solutions, so I kinda doubt it. And I think it will only be their newly announced battery plant with Samsung that will be producing the cylindrical cell. But that will not be up and running before 2026. So their highly praised ultimate pouch cells, which according to GM was pretty much better than anything out there in every single way, has now been flushed down the toilet by GM themselves, as they will shift to cylindrical cells as they are superior. And the poorly designed battery was nothing but a big nothing burger from GM. Exposed by Monroe, nothing special, not more energy dense, nothing, just a very big pouch cells. It may be the worst engineered battery pack I have ever seen to date. But nice to hear that it's not just us in the EV or Tesla community that is saying that GM will not be able to deliver on their promises, as we have gotten used to for GM, as they have not delivered on any of their EV targets for the last 7 years. No wonder that Jim Farley last year said the ones we're paying most attention to is Hyundai, Kia, the Chinese and Tesla. That's my list. So no, he do not even see GM as competition, or anything he can look at to learn anything. I don't think GM will survive this. They are too late to the party, showed up with last decade's technology, and they have not been able to ramp up EV production yet, even though they have been at it for more than 6 years. It will be very interesting to see how GM will do with their 3 new models that are coming out this year, because they have to succeed. Rapid production ramp with high delivery numbers, or else GM will be dead in the water. And thank you for watching, and until next time, take care out there and be nice.